Fam, what's going on? It's Kyle Henderson of Bama Football on YouTube. If you roll Tide, hit the thumbs up. The hat from Chris Mobley. Today, we're going to talk about Coach Kalen DeBoer's press conference. I'm going to play the entire thing, walk you through it. We might pause it and kind of hit on some topics, but Coach Kalen DeBoer had a really good press conference today. But before that, everybody's talking about what happened before that earlier today with the Miami of Ohio head football coach, Chuck Martin, talking about his former kicker, Graham Nicholson, who is now here at the University of Alabama. In fact, the comments, everybody's going wild with the comments. So let's play this, and then we'll hear from Coach Kalen DeBoer. But this was earlier from today. Basically, he's claiming that Alabama stole and illegally recruited Graham Nicholson. Here's a soundbite.
All right, special teams, lost your kicker. Carter McLaughlin.
We didn't lose him. He's at Alabama. We know
exactly. I understand.
We know exactly where he's at.
We realized very quickly that he was too good for Miami of Ohio. I mean, this isn't even the real Miami. So him going to Tuscaloosa to play some real football in the SEC. I mean, think about it. Now he gets to kick the shit out of Auburn, Tennessee, and LSU too. So roll Tide to him. I'm an Alabama Crimson Tide football fan, and yeah, that's how I have it.
All right, okay. I dubbed over the audio. I thought that was hilarious. I thought it was a good time to do it. You think that was hilarious? You probably caught you off guard, right? Here's the real soundbite from Miami of Ohio football coach Chuck Martin today.
We didn't lose him. He's at Alabama. We know exactly.
I understand.
We know exactly where he's at. You media people, it's all pretend. Like, no, Alabama stole our kicker.
Yes,
they illegally recruited
our
kicker and stole him from us, and like that's a fact. But that's but we act like it's not. We live in this la world. Like, hey, let's not talk. I don't know why everybody knows what's going on. So, yeah, Alabama stole our kicker. A couple other schools tried to steal it, but then what's the question?
Let's talk time where.
So before we get to Coach Kalen DeBoer, you saw that, right? I mean, look, the transfer portal has done so much to college football. As soon as the player enters the transfer portal, he can go anywhere that he wants to. Now, is it a dirty game out there? I don't know. But it seems like a lot of people are sliding into different DMs. You saw what happened with Iowa and Kane Proctor. According to Coach Kalen DeBoer, he was asked this, right? Okay, so up in the beginning of the press conference, the first question he is going to be asked about Graham Nicholson in these comments from Chuck Martin, okay? So this is a very good press conference from Coach Kalen DeBoer that we're going to start right now. He goes over a ton of different topics, ranging from answering that question about Chuck Martin. He's going to talk about Kobe Prentice. He's going to talk about the depth chart, fourth down mentality. He's going to talk about Courtney Morgan. Just a great press conference. I might pause it and pop in every once in a while and just provide some commentary, but I'll let it run because it is really good. Probably, I think, in my opinion, this is probably the best press conference from Coach Kalen DeBoer. Just a genuine person. I really like it. Plus, I'll put the timestamps inside for you guys to check it out. So here's Coach Kalen DeBoer's press conference following practice today.
Time where the weeks fly by pretty quickly. It seems like it's slow and a lot of days, a lot of work being put in, and all of a sudden, boom, school starts, and that was yesterday. And then today, you just keep itching closer. But it seems like these days stack up faster. So we're getting close, and the guys are certainly getting to that point. I don't want to say we're there yet, but getting to that point where we need to hit someone else, and see where we're at. But we'll start getting into some Western Kentucky here over the weekend, some prep on that. There's been some things here and there that we've done, just putting film in front of them and a couple looks here and there. But this will really where we kind of dial in and focus specifically on them. So putting our depth charts together here over the weekend, got obviously a pretty good idea in all phases where things are going with most of them, but just really dialing in, and those details are things we're really paying attention to right now. So questions?
Yeah, before we get started, the Miami of Ohio coach accused you guys of tampering with the recruitment of Graham Nicholson. Do you have a response to that?
I don't know anything about that, I guess, that comment. He entered the portal and we reached out to him. So that's how it goes, right? So we did everything the way you're supposed to.
He's an older player, coach, but what have you known about Kobe Prentice, wide receiver in that room, kind of a veteran guy?
Yeah, Kobe brings speed. He's got some experience, just everything that I think can really fit well into the offense. he can play inside and outside. And so, that's something that I think we're really trying to really groom all our receivers to do, is be very versatile. And I think that's an area where he's, kind of grown his game probably through fall camp. But when he gets in space and someone's one-on-one with him, there's very few people that can keep up. We've seen that, this spring, summer, fall camp, just the ability to run. And I think he's really, again, under Coach Shep and being pushed by the rest of the core, really done a good job, really improving his game. So I'm proud of where he's at and the direction he's going.
You mentioned the depth chart. Just what's your philosophy on making that public before week one? I know some coaches have different feelings on that.
Yeah, I mean, we'll probably do something where it's public, at some point throughout the week. A lot of it is also just kind of where it's at with our opponent too. That's really you kind of know, especially after week one. The week one game is probably the trickiest, but there's so much information on us that's out there already. I always kind of assume that is known by our opponent. So there'll be some things. I think for the most part, 90% of it is kind of already known. Obviously, the special teams pieces are still out there. The other 10%, or whatever you want to call it, I would say that some of those things are still kind of up in the air and going to be a work in progress and not solidified. If you got a depth chart, there might be some ors in different spots, and that's hopefully understandable.
Kalen, a philosophical question for you. The past couple of years, you guys have gone on fourth down a good bit, and especially in your own territory a few times with that too. What is your mentality or just overall approach? I know each situation is different, but what kind of approach do you take to decisions in those moments?
Yeah, this is something that, I talk about with the team. We did this before the first scrimmage because we talk about being in those moments and those fourth down situations on both sides of the ball. And just what that means when we are going for it. Because I think it means that you have confidence that you can get it offensively, but it also means that you have confidence in a defense that can go out there and not just collapse if they're put in a tough spot where you come up short on the offensive fourth down conversion. So we specifically talk about that. We get in situations in scrimmages and move the ball situations all camp long, all spring long too, where we are very intentional on understanding when it comes to fourth down, it's just another play, it's another down. Yeah, it's an important one, but we can't just lock up and realize feel like it's do or die, and go out there and just execute the play. Just do what we're supposed to. I think when it comes to the decision, I would say that the mindset is we want to be aggressive, but we're not going to be reckless. And that's what I tell the guys. That's what I tell the team. We're going to play a team game, and team game, means that if there's situations we really feel are favorable, situations where we feel like we can get it, or that we really need to based on the flow of the game even, we'll go for it. So, yeah, I think last year there were some right at the end of the season. But if you look at the numbers, it isn't like we're that much more. I'd probably say we're in the middle of the pack roughly on how many times we go for it other than the championship game when you're forced to go for it. So, I don't think like we're reckless, but we take those right times and try to take advantage of them and go for it. Yeah, he's super critical. He's the guy. I mean, I know it's been said many times, but he's the guy that came down with me. When I got the opportunity to come here, and we just mesh so well. I feel like there's a trust that exists. I mean, there's a trust that I have with all our staff members, but having worked with him now, this will be going on year 4, and known him for longer, that I understand what he's all about. Understand. He's relationship driven, that he does a great job of identifying and evaluating. He has a team that he leads. He leads in a way, and I think we've worked together to figure out the leadership and the way we want to operate. He doesn't probably like I would say, I don't micromanage every move and every minute of the day by people, but you really try to provide an environment where your staff, and in his case, his recruiting staff, for the most part, and there's other elements to it too when you're the GM, but there's just a lot of elements that he just oversees, and we've continued to, I think, hire the right people and let them go work. And Courtney, you know, when it comes to the recruiting piece, obviously we've been successful, and he's a major piece of that. And I'm excited for, you know, what's to come in the future with him here in this program for sure.
That was Coach Kalen DeBoer talking about Courtney Morgan, who just got a nice bump in pay from the University of Alabama. It was reported that USC offered him $1 million salary. He turned that down to stay with Alabama. They extended his contract. Good for him. I mean, clearly plays a vital role in the University of Alabama as this general manager position. And I thought listening to Courtney Morgan during the Hey Coach show, something that really stood out to me was talking about recruiting. He said that Alabama and the script A is going to go so far just because of the brand and what Nick Saban has built. But also when you compete against the SEC, it's the daily grind, right? It's the nonstop grind. It's relentless. Every school has a good coach. Every school has money. So these guys have done an amazing job. And think about it. Alabama is still number 2. Probably going to finish out with the number 1 ranked recruiting class, which is absolutely outstanding for the Alabama Crimson Tide. We continue with Coach Kalen DeBoer's press conference. Coming up, he's going to talk about Keon Sabb, Cam Howard, King Mack, Neelan Hibbett. How about that? He just got put on scholarship, which is awesome. We were talking about him today. He's the long snapper for the University of Alabama. Hits on J.J. Watts, talks about the team captains, and talks about quarterback development. I'll pop on in just a minute. It's a really good press conference that we continue with from Coach Kalen DeBoer.
You guys brought in a lot of help at safety with the portal, with Keon Sabb,
Mm-hmm.
King Howard, King Mack, those guys. How do you think they'd come into the program from somewhere else and kind of assimilated?
Yeah, they're really important. You know, from a starting position like Keon to just younger guys, and some depends on who you're talking about in different roles that are going to be really important for us in certain packages. Not just depth in my mind. And so special teams, these guys have really come in. They're not just great players, but they're people and guys who really have blended in well and became really accepted with our team quickly. And that's a tribute to who they are as people and the work they put in. So I'm really appreciative of how important they've been, and every day, you know, they just feel like they've been here forever, been part of this team, just like all these guys have been here 2, 3, 4 years.
Coach, speaking of special teams, Neelan Hibbett, long snapper going into his last season from Alabama. He was a guy that walked on, became one of the best long snappers in the conference. What have you learned about him in your first few months here at Tuscaloosa?
Yeah. You know, so we gave Neelan a scholarship, and I wasn't sure even internally how to handle that because I didn't know I wanted to surprise him, and we did that. But he's got that. He deserves that. He's rock solid and just a great person. We have senior talks that we do, and he started us off last week and knocked it out of the park. Just you can see the type of leader that he is, and you know how much the guys trust and believe in him, how much they respect him, and so he's, you know. I think the long snapper, right, like many specialists, is a guy that you undervalue. Most people do, until all of a sudden those times come when the lights are bright and that snap's not made, that kick's not made, you know, or it's a punt that didn't, end how it was supposed to. So he's just really trustworthy, and he's great to have on this team.
How did it come about having J.J. Watt speak to the team that you all for Wisconsin, and just overall kind of what's your philosophy with
Yeah, I think there were some connections actually with him prior to even me being here, but I wanted to find guys, and we really had less speakers come in because I wanted it to still be more about probably myself and our staff laying down the culture and us taking those team meetings and as a first-year group together, making it more about us. But you know, it's been a great tradition, and it was exciting to carry on the tradition with J.J. Watt, Chris Paul, and we had a speaker kind of on life in general with Hunter Pinky come in too. But these guys, I think the cool thing with especially J.J. and Chris Paul is that they're still playing, or J.J. just recently retired, but they're still playing, and they are elite. They did it for many years. I thought it was awesome having, someone, seems like you always bring in the offensive guys and the quarterbacks or whoever, and he came in and spoke from a defensive side of things and got a chance to spend some time with the D-line, and they picked up a few tricks too. So it was really cool. He had a great message. Sacrifice, commitment is a common theme, I think, with most of the speakers that came in, and we know that that's what it takes to be great, and they emphasize that.
Hey, Coach, the team did something different this year when deciding Mm-hmm. Class when not school started, or just on the practice field, just in the locker room, things of that nature?
Yeah, I think there's levels to the leadership. We need every guy. I tell them if they have influence on anyone, they're a leader, which is pretty much our whole team. And these guys are the ones that were, for the most part, best of the best whatever high school they're at. So they're used to being leaders, and doesn't mean that a freshman can't lead. We're gonna have some freshmen out on the football field that got to be great leaders out there this fall. But we have a Unity Council, which is another level and layer to the leadership. Then the captains, and that's just kind of how it was always felt. There's just this smaller group that you really can go to, that you feel certainly have the ears of the team and can get up in front of them. And I thought our team did a great job picking 4 guys that are going to pour everything into every day, are going to have great messages, not afraid to get up in front and say what they feel when it's needed most. But I'm also going to emphasize to our whole team that we have to have a whole team full of leaders. And so it just can't fall on those 4 guys. And I'm really careful to make sure I emphasize that because I don't want just those 4 guys feeling like the whole weight's got to be on them. We need a whole team.
Obviously, scheme is a big part of it, but what would you say about your coaching style lends itself to developing quarterbacks? It seems like you've had a lot of success at that position. Is there an approach you have with them that maybe lends to that?
Yeah, I would say it's an everyday thing. It's an every rep thing. When they come off, you want to be able to go through with them what they were thinking, what they could, do better, what their, just thought process, execution, all of that. And so there's tools you got to teach them. And, I feel like for the most part, what they come in with emotion and things like that, probably 85-90% of that is what you're going to have to work with. So it's not about overhauling a throwing motion or anything like that. It's about really them grasping football, them grasping what it takes to win, teaching them to be great leaders. You're working footwork drills, you're working, accuracy, you're working all those type of things too. But just the mental piece, I think, is so important. And them, feeling comfortable with what you're doing. I don't ever want them running a play where there's a split of, just even a doubt in their mind of anything, whether it's them or that someone else doesn't know what they're doing that's lined up with them on the field. So it's just being in sync with them. And as a quarterback, having that communication, whether it's the coordinator and the quarterback, myself, with both of them, that's just so critical to be aligned and know our response, because the quarterback's going to be seeing his body language, his, what he says. We talk through all that, not just daily, but after almost every, set of plays. We're talking about those things, and I'm highlighting it and with them, emphasizing it with them. And I think just when you keep stacking those moments on top of each other, that's how you develop a great quarterback.
Good comments on Coach Kalen DeBoer talking about quarterback development. You look at what he's done, where he's gone, and now you look at the quarterback that he has in Jalen Milroe. Can't wait to see what he can do with Milroe this coming season. Kyle Henderson and Bama Football on YouTube. You're watching Coach Kalen DeBoer's press conference right here on Bama Football on YouTube. Could you hit the thumbs up? I appreciate you guys. And I'm inside the comment box, so what's up? Thanks for joining us. We got some more to move through with Coach Kalen DeBoer. Coming up, he's going to talk about Nick Sheridan, his offensive coordinator, who, in my opinion, has the most talented. Think about all the offensive coordinators stepping into roles. I mean, he's stepping into a Bugatti, right? Driving Alabama's offense. He's going to hit on transfer eligibility, areas of improvement that he's seen after 18 practices. He talks about physicality, talks about even an overseas question, like could Alabama play overseas at some point in time? I mean, Florida State and Georgia Tech playing in Dublin, Ireland. Where do you think Alabama could play, right? And that would be pretty cool to see just in the future. He talks about kind of the health of the team. I mean, this is a healthy team. I think a lot has to do with kind of the modern medicine in the sports and science center that Alabama has with Jeff Allen. He talks about Ryan Williams, Xavier Brown, the SEC tiebreaker. You saw that came out as well. And then finally, he talks about Geno Vandermark. I'll let it close out, and we continue, and then I'll kind of close it out on the back end. Here's Coach Kalen DeBoer as he continues with his Thursday press conference.
Mm-hmm.
What did he show you that year that made you want to bring him with you to Washington and down to Tuscaloosa?
There's a lot of things, but I'd say it would be a combination of just a brilliant mind, helping me bring our offense into Indiana that year, and him being able to be that, I don't know, a liaison or just that set of ears that could decipher, evaluate, process with me what was going to be the smoothest way for us to make that happen. He did that also when we went to Washington, just really having a big picture view, understanding the things that you got to have a successful offense, whether it's week 1 or week 12, whatever time of the season it is, knowing the tools you need, the concepts, the formations, the wrinkles, seeing defenses, being able to, just mentally, just quick, make decisions, just a bright coach, and I could see it right away. And then there's the personality side where he has great relationships with his team, with the coaches on the staff. He's a team player through and through, but just all of those things, just people you want to align yourself with. And so saw that really quickly. I told him over and over, especially, that was 5 years ago. I wasn't at that spot when I was that age, and I told him over and over again, and know he's got a bright future, not just as an offense coordinator, but as a head coach someday.
Coach Sheridan yesterday talked to us a lot about education and the emphasis that you put on it with the team starting classes, and I wondered a couple of other aspects of education, what the challenges are with, say, a kid who reclassifies late or transfers who are coming in from other schools are their credits going to transfer, that sort of thing.
Yeah, from that standpoint, we can't take those guys until we have approval that, everything is in good standing. And so that deals with compliance and be able to get into majors and things like that. But, I'm proud of our guys. Academically this spring, they had a 3.2 GPA, as a whole team. For the semester, and they had 85 of 123 of our players this spring had over a 3.0, and they're getting degrees. And this summer, it was almost right at that same number with the GPA. That's a time when, they know the season's coming. And summer, I've seen some places it's a little more low key with the academic focus. These guys are just well-rounded, and that gives you a good sense of the maturity of our team. I thought even a practice, and not jumping off the academic side, but I thought a practice like today where there's a lot of physical but mental, it shows the maturity of our team. And I don't think we're there yet. I think there's a lot of room for growth and improvement. We got a lot of young guys, a lot of new faces in our program, probably close to 35, 40 new scholarship guys in our team. But our maturity and want to and all that shows in our academics. And I'm super proud of them taking care of that so that there's less distractions to do so they can focus on what they really love to do, and that's play football.
Coach, after 18 practices, what would you say is the biggest area of improvement you've seen over the course of the season?
I like how consistent we've become here at the end. I thought, speaking with you also on Saturday, we talked about the physicality of it, flying around. I think we're in a good spot. With fall camp, you always worry about getting the legs back and things like that. I think there's not a cumulative fatigue that's happened with our team. I think we're getting stronger, and but the consistency, both sides of the ball. Don't feel like there's days where we come out and you just don't know what you're going to get. I think you know what you're going to get for the most part. And, it's some days depending on the install, it might be better for one side of the ball or the other. But I know I'm going to get great effort, and know that they're going to work together, know that we can change tempos in practice, and they're going to be able to adjust, and they're going to listen. I challenge them in a big way for this session we just had out here. It's something I've seen happen over the years that with a lot of special teams and transitions it can fall apart on you, and these guys thrived. It got done about 10 minutes earlier than I even expected. So I love that about them. Again, we got a lot of things that we got to always continue to work on. I tell them that every snap we play, from beginning to end of the season, we're going to get better, and we got to, have a 1-0 mindset. You probably heard that from them as well, but a 1-0 mindset, because every snap we're still learning. We're still learning a new system in all areas, and so I'm proud of the way they come to work every day. But that consistency has been something I'm proud of.
Would you ever want to take the team to Ireland or even some other country playing one of these season opener games?
Yeah, I think there's the right time, and when you've been in a program for a while and you want to continue to expand, things like that. I've looked into those different times, different places. I think it'd be tough, a first year or two to do something like that. But there's just more and more things you want to put in front of these guys and experiences you want to give them. So I think that's pretty cool.
Courtney mentioned last night how rare it is for the roster to stay as healthy as it has been in camp. Just how have you been able to manage players' bodies in the last couple weeks here?
Yeah, I think our training staff has done a great job. One thing, just talking to our training staff here this morning, even just yesterday, they got classes. So it was really our first day. And then being in this new rhythm, new routine, they saw guys all afternoon just coming in. It doesn't mean that these guys got dings and stuff, but they're prehab, rehab, whatever it might be. They're just living in the training room. They're around the facility in the afternoon. Just feel like we're stealing hours that way, in and around classes, after practice, just in between meals, all that good stuff. So I think that has led to a team that's, for the most part, pretty healthy, So that's what's going to take, because every rep, like I said, is going to be really important for our growth and development.
Brian Williams and Xavier Brown, I'm just curious, what have you seen from those freshmen through fall camp?
Yeah, they're just both, so advanced in different ways. Might be athleticism, and also just maturity and understanding what the commitment is. That that age, I think a lot of guys don't realize what it really takes, and they still probably don't completely understand, but they're farther along in figuring that out than most guys that come in. And so they've been thrown in there and realized there's opportunity, and I love how they've taken advantage of their opportunities and not just taking it for granted that more and more are going to come. So whether working through, and you guys saw, Xavier's working through he got dinged up, a few weeks back, and that showed a lot right there that he wants to be out there. Just, not that there was an option or anything, but just went out there and wanted to go get some reps, and easily could have said, I'm not comfortable yet, and been on the sideline a little bit more. But they're getting better. They're going to continue to get better because of just how young they are still.
Coach, the SEC put out its tiebreakers for the SEC championship coming up in December. Did you get a chance to look at that? And if so, what are your thoughts of those tiebreakers?
Yeah, someone sent it to me. I just took a screenshot of it and haven't really digested it and gone through it. It was something I was going to do here the next day or two.
Hey, Coach, last one. Hey, Coach, can you talk about how Gino Van Martin's looked in practice and just replacing Jaden Roberts for right now? I know you said Jaden was going to be ready for week 1, but just how he's looked, just stepping in at that tackle position.
Yeah.
Stepping in at that offensive line.
Yeah, Gino, you said? Yep. Yeah, Gino, he's, the reason he came in is for exactly what we're looking at. He's a guy that's got some snaps under his belt, and you really don't feel like, you're losing much. That's not, a knock on Jaden. Jaden's exceptional, and he's a standard. But, that Gino can come in and just 18 practices in, or even less than that, come in and play guard, play center. He's done a great job. And the thing I'd say about Gino is he loves the work. I think it was probably 2 or 3 days into it. I saw him in the hallway this summer and just asked him how things are going. And, in his own words, and I can't say those words right now here, but in his own words, he expressed that he loved the work that these guys put in. He loved just the mindset. And that's really cool to hear, because he's like, these are the hardest workouts I've ever been through. It says a lot about him wanting to be great, and you can see that out there. He's refining. He's working on it every day. He's getting better at snapping the ball. He's getting better at playing guard here this week for sure. So I'm just really appreciative that he's here with us. That's 100%.
All right, that's Coach Kalen DeBoer's press conference. Really good stuff. I think when kind of look back at the highlights of Coach Kalen DeBoer in the press conference today. Again, Kyle Henderson, Bama Football on YouTube. I appreciate you guys being here. Take a minute and hit the thumbs up. I'm going to run through the depth chart before we break out of here, so just give me 1 second. I love the comments on the back end talking about Ryan Williams and Xavier Brown. 2 All-Americans on 3 freshmen. Ryan Williams just got here. Xavier Brown was here during the spring. Guy battled off a club, and he's still out there starting for Alabama. And you hear from Coach Kalen DeBoer talking about how far those guys are, and they're Ryan Williams is only 17 years old. Still incredible to me. Talked about the SEC tiebreaker. I think that's going to be interesting depending on, this year for college football is going to be absolutely wild in terms of what is going to happen. Remember, there's no more East and West. It's just who is 1, who is 2. Hit on Geno Vandermark. Overall, I think that was probably Coach Kalen DeBoer's best press conference, and wanted to talk about some other items in terms of looking at this depth chart. So what I'm going to do is kind of rewind back to my beginning slides. I'm going to go from quarterback, and you might have seen some of these on my earlier show. I'll walk you through it. I won't spend too much time on it, but in terms of talking about depth chart, which Coach Kalen DeBoer said they will release an official depth chart here coming up next week before the game against Western Kentucky. Let's look at what it probably could be like. Because, we've been following the team. It's not some secret. I think on special teams, it still have some question marks, but let's look at it. And then some icons to kind of go over. The C represents that Jalen Milroe is a captain, returning starter for Alabama. I think he's going to throw for over 3,500 yards this season. Last year, threw for 2,800. Austin Mack, a transfer from Washington. Looks like he's a third-team quarterback. And I said earlier today on my show, I have so much respect for Ty Simpson. Zero complaints. You never heard him go on social media saying anything about entitlement. Just takes one season to turn heads, and I think he's going to be ready when his name is called for Alabama. This running back depth chart is absolutely phenomenal. The Fs mean that they are true freshmen. You have Daniel Hill and Kevin Riley. I know Jam Miller's kind of been in that black jersey. I think he'll be fully up to speed for that game against Western Kentucky. And I put first team on some of the guys you'll notice in these upcoming graphics. I mean, they're all first teamers. I mean, Alabama is so deep. So, for example, if Jam Miller is the first guy who carries the ball, they could come out in another formation, and it could be Justice Haynes. So I list those guys as first team guys. Plus, Richard Young's an absolute beast. My goodness, at 220 pounds probably. The tight end depth chart. This has been a big stock up for me. Watching this tight end group. C.J. Dupree, I think, is going to do a really great job. I can't wait to see C.J. Dupree and Robbie Utzon on the field at the same time when they do 12 personnel working with the 2 tight end sets. Josh Cuevas is a transfer from Washington, and then Jay Lindsey is a freshman. I didn't list all the players, but kind of give you a snapshot of what the depth chart could look like. Jeremy Bernard, a transfer in from Washington. Kendrick Law, Kobe Prentice. I think that those guys will be the first to get on the field. But, I listed Ryan Williams, as a first-team guy, too. I think he'll certainly play. And then Emmanuel Henderson and Cole Adams, those guys have been turning heads as well. I appreciate it. Could you guys take a minute and hit the thumbs up? Thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate you guys for rocking with Bama football on YouTube. You got a transfer in from Caden Proctor. Someone was like, you shouldn't add him as a transfer. Well, he did transfer, and then it came back. So I know it's confusing for me too. But glad he's here with the Alabama Crimson Tide. Tyler Booker is a captain and an All-American. Parker Brailsford is a transfer from Washington and an All-American preseason, that is. Jaden Roberts, he'll be healthy for that Western Kentucky game. That was from Coach Kalen DeBoer. And then you have Wilcom Formby, hometown hero, if you will, repping that right tackle position, where there still could be a little bit of a position battle, but I think he's going to be the starter. Looking at the defensive tackle, you'll have a DT and you'll have a nose. Tim Keenan, Tim Smith, Jaheim Otis. Pick your big boy, right? Guys who are over 300 pounds. I like this group. I think there's going to be a lot of rotation, a lot of really good depth. The bandit position, you got Jameer and Lathan. Look, LT Overton, everybody is talking about LT Overton. Just last week, Kane Womack said that he's a 280-pound ass kicker. So when you look to kind of guys who are playing at the high level right now going in the season, looks like LT Overton is one of those guys. And then earlier on my show, we talked about who are we most kind of intrigued to see. I think a lot of people asking about Keon Keeley, and rightfully so. Put on 35 pounds to get to where he's at? Man, can't wait to see him in action. Bama inside depth chart, inside linebacker, that is Deontay Lawson, captain, rightfully so. Jahad Campbell, monster. Justin Jefferson. I think him and LT have had some of the best fall camps for sure. Jeremiah Alexander, and then listed F for Justin Okoronkwo. Again, I didn't list all the players or the reserves. As we get forward, we'll start to mix up the depth chart, of course. The Wolf position, think Dallas Turner, William Anderson, Q Rob, Keanu Coe, Quay Russo, Yanzi Pierre. Absolutely loaded group. And then an F for true freshman Noah Carter. The corners, there's a lot of icons here. You got Damani Jackson in from USC. You got Xavier Brown, who Coach Kalen DeBoer talked about. You got Jalen Mbakwe. I think he's going to play sooner than later for sure. And then Deshaun Jones, who transferred in from Wake Forest. The safety position, you got another captain in Malachi Moore. You got Keon Sabb. You got Devontae Smith and King Mack, who transferred in from Penn State. And then Red Morgan, who is just a freshman. The special teams, look, I like this group. I really do. And there's a lot of experience here, so stay with me. You got it transferred in, Graham Nicholson, transferred in from Miami of Ohio, right? He's a preseason All-American. James Burnup is the punter. He'll also be the holder. Neelan Hibbett, who just got put on scholarship, he's a senior. Has a lot of experience. And I was saying earlier on my show, it's so important to have all those guys as experienced vets. Jeremy Bernard, probably be one of the kick returners, along with Jalen Mbakwe, maybe even a Ryan Williams. And then Cole Adams as a punt returner, maybe Jalen Mbakwe, maybe Kendrick Law. I don't know. I really don't know who's going to be the kick returner and punt returner. You do have a lot of options in terms of guys who have a really big acceleration, elusive, you know what I'm talking about with your specialists. Check this out. These are the transfers that are going to be starting for the University of Alabama. Jeremy Bernard, Caden Proctor, Parker Brailsford, LT Overton, probably Damani Jackson, Keon Sapp. So 3 on offense, 3 on defense, and then 1 on special teams. I thought that was pretty cool in terms of looking at the graphic in terms of the starters coming in and how Coach Kalen DeBoer utilized that transfer portal. He got all of those guys besides Damani Jackson. Damani Jackson, part of Coach Saban, his transfer before he left. The new coaching staff, I'll bring it up full screen. You got Kalen DeBoer, Courtney Morgan as the GM, Nick Sheridan as the OC, and Kane Womack as the DC. The 3 on the left, of course, came from Washington with Coach Kalen DeBoer and Kane Womack. Coached with Kalen DeBoer before at Indiana. He was at South Alabama where he was the head coach. Other coaches to the right, Freddie Roach, Jamarcus Shepard, Robert Gillespie, Colin Hitchler, Mo Lindquist, Brian Ellis, Chris Kapilovic, Christian Robinson, Jay Nunez, Jeff Allen, David Blue. Those are huge additions. And, of course, the rest of the coaches here at the University of Alabama. Can't wait to see these guys in action. I appreciate you guys being here. If you like this video, if you like the packaging, I do all of it myself, so a thumbs up goes a long way. Super chats greatly appreciated. If you want to become a fan funder of Bama Football on YouTube, just $2.99 to support the product. I will be back as news happens right here on Bama Football on YouTube. Thank you for spending time with me tonight on Bama Football on YouTube. You can catch me live tomorrow morning on Friday at 9 a.m. Central Time. One more time from beautiful Tuscaloosa, Alabama, Kyle Henderson, Bama Football on YouTube. Can I get a roll tide? I'll see you guys next time right here on Bama Football on YouTube. See you guys.